Hello, this is Levistro, the Dragon in Cyberspace, coming to you with all news, tips, and tricks within the gaming spectrum. You know, it comes a time in everyone's life when you don't want to know your heroes, or rather, you grew up as a child and a company has produced some very well beloved franchises and products that you grew up with. And so you have that nostalgia. And then that nostalgia becomes stale. And then it becomes so stale you just, you don't want to play the game some more. And then another company inspired by that same nostalgia that you had comes up with competition, only to be squashed down. Yeah, I couldn't be mentioning anybody specific, could I? Palworld announces content removal amid ongoing Pokemon lawsuit, Insider Gaming reports. Palworld announced another compromise in the ongoing legal battle with Pokemon and confirmed a disappointing removal of one PAL-oriented feature. Releasing in January 2024, Palworld became a global phenomenon, boasting over 2 million concurrent players at its peak on Steam, but comparisons were immediately made with Pokemon. Although Palworld developers Pocket Pair continued to contest the lawsuit, arguing invalidity and non-infringement, an announcement on X, formerly Twitter, stated that certain compromises were made in order to avoid disruptions to the development and distribution of Palworld. The latest compromise will take place in the patch version 0.5.5, where gliding will be performed using a glider rather than with PALs. Although PALs will continue to provide passive bonuses when gliding, a glider must be present in a player's inventory. So when does Nintendo start going after them, saying they copied off Breath of the Wild? Just putting that out there. Although such a switch may not seem significant at first glance, Pokemon is not the only game to use creatures or animals to assist with gliding, so the removal will be a blow to Pocket Pair. How has the Pokemon lawsuit impacted Palworld? This is the first time Palworld has made adjustments amid Pokemon lawsuit, with an update in November removing the ability to summon Pals by throwing Pal Spheres, instead switching to a static spawn alongside the player. It was speculated that this was due to the ongoing litigation, which has now been confirmed. Although disappointing, the alternative would have led to an even greater deterioration of the gameplay experience for players. Fans will understandably be curious about whether future changes to Palworld model are on the cards, and with all the comparisons between the Pals and Palworld to creatures within the Pokemon world, it's interesting that these models have not yet emerged as a point of contention. Yes, and the thing is, it's like, Nintendo is known for being litigious when it comes to lawsuits. And sadly, Palworld is no exception. While I do agree the Chinese-based company, Pocket something, I can't remember, that was copying off of them with Pokemon cards, and like you knew it was just a rip-off one-for-one of Pokemon, right? Like it was just straight up rip-off. I don't know how to explain this in simple terms, but at least here in America, these are two Japanese-based companies. You kind of can't sue people you can't copyright codes. You really can't. And game design is kind of odd because technically, Dragon Warrior can sue Nintendo. And that's the biggest controversy here. It's like, what if you make a success, right? We've seen so many cases of companies growing up and getting successful and eating the bigger corporations' lunch, and they sue the hell out of them. But with Nintendo, you gotta wonder, are they gonna start attacking them, saying, Breath of the Wild is now being copyrighted because they used a glider? Like, when does it stop? I thought Sony actually partnered with the Palworld devs to protect them, doesn't seem like they're doing a good job. Now, I'm not saying Palworld copied off of Pokemon. A lot of games are inspired from other games, right? You could argue that Assassin's Creed and the Thief series are similar, or Assassin's Creed, especially with its stealth mechanics, may have copied off of Splinter Cell. Like, a lot of games mimic each other. But to mimic styles becomes something else. Like, Palworld is Pokemon with guns. And I don't think Nintendo likes that, because they were the sole... Like, Digimon wasn't even much of a contender. It was in the 90s, but it didn't take off very well, and it has a very niche audience. And obviously, Pokemon fans are going to be like that fat kid in Ted, screaming they want their teddy back that's not theirs, right? In this case, they're going to be screaming like, don't you copy off of Palworld or Pokemon. Thing is that Nintendo is also that kid as well. Except it was theirs originally, but someone needs to figuratively punch them in the face. Not literally, in Minecraft. Okay? And what I mean by that isn't like someone goes over to Pokemon Studios and literally do violence. No, I don't condone that. What I'm saying is, Nintendo needs competition. All businesses need competition. And Nintendo is used to, for years, not having to worry about competition. Now they got competition, and they just sue them. No. I want Nintendo to do good. I don't want Legend of Zelda becoming another Fortnite. I don't want Zelda looking like a freaking dude. I want Zelda to look like Zelda. Alright? And people say, oh, they're not trusting. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, they cut her hair, and they put her in pants. She's a princess. She's a fucking princess. Do I need to make that any clearer for anybody? No? Okay. That being said, Palworld here is a contender to Pokemon, which could help increase Pokemon as well, because it will force the devs to try and come up with new, interesting ideas. You don't have to give Pokemon a freaking gun. You don't have to do that. But let's be honest, it's becoming stale. It was a phenomenon in the 90s. And yes, it's still popular to this day. But my son, for an example, he's 9 years old. He liked Pikachu when he was little. Now he's 9 years old. He's not interested in Pokemon anymore. I remember I used to get in trouble for not doing my homework playing Pokemon Yellow. Just putting that out there. And now the mechanics are stale. The Pokemon don't really interest me. That I haven't played Pokemon. I'll be full disclosure. I haven't played Pokemon since Pokemon Crystal, I think. I tried getting into it with later adaptions, but and then even with Pokemon Go, and I just couldn't get into it anymore. And you can say, yeah, it was meant for kids. And then, yeah, you're absolutely right. But there are also adults that still play the game, watch the anime. You know, they still are into that franchise. But the franchise, let's be honest, the franchise is stale. It's gotten old really quick, and it needs competition to breathe life into it. Palworld would have done that to it. But no, Daddy Corporate Nintendo wants to go ahead and sue people, which is going to cause other game corporations to do the same if ever an indie or AA or solo dev decides to make a game and someone says, oh, this looks vaguely similar to this big game I have. Yeah. But what are your thoughts, everybody? Put them in the comments below. And as always, happy gaming.
Worlds clash in endless collision. Gaming news with a fierce precision. With a spark so wild it breaks the norm. In the tempest's eye, a cyber reclaim gaming and dragon cast. Fire breathing wide, screaming loud. The Vistro's here to shake the crowd. Psychotic dragon ready to